Hello and welcome to Heidi's Homemade Quilts and More. I'm Heidi. Hello. And today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to be doing a how to crochet tutorial. I've had some of my friends ask me to do this, so here you go. We're going to start off with just the basic stitches. First thing we're going to do is learn how to do your slip knot and get your chain going so that you can add your stitches to it. But first we're going to go over some of the stuff that you need to get started. Today I am using a 5.5 millimeter hook. It's not liquid. Millimeter hook. It is what is considered an I size. This is I purposely chose this particular hook to show you guys because this is kind of like just like the basic cheap, I want to say it's a Susan Bates, but I'm not entirely sure. It might be a boy. But it comes in like a set of 6. It has like a 5, a 5.5, and a 6 or something like that. And it's got a couple smaller ones. Or maybe some bigger ones. I'm not sure. I've bought several different sets, so I'm not really sure exactly what comes in this one. But this is widely available. You can get it at like Walmart, Joann Fabrics, Michaels. It's a very cheap tool to get you started. So this is what I'm showing you how to use or how to start yourself on crochet with something that is not going to cost you an arm and a leg to begin with. Okay, so you're going to need a hook. You're going to want to look at your yarn and see what the yarn recommends you use. This yarn that I'm using today is it's called Impeccable from Loops and Threads. This is a Michaels Craft Store brand. Okay. It has 285 yards. It is considered a medium weight 4. This is definitely a medium weight 4. There's no doubt about that, okay? This is an acrylic yarn. So this would be good to start off with to make yourself like a washcloth or something like that. It is machine washable and dryable. You just want to make sure that you're not using a hot iron or anything on it because it could actually melt the yarn, okay? Now, this recommends a hook size of at least 5 millimeter, okay? This one is a 5.5, so that's pretty much perfect. When you see this hook size, you want to stay within that range for the best presentation of this yarn. So you could go a little bit lower, a little bit higher. You could go to up to, I would say, like a 7 before it would look a little too spacey, okay? But today we're going to use a 5.5 eye hook, okay? And if you're wondering, this one is called Amethyst, okay? So we have our hook and we have our yarn. This yarn is a great center pull, which means that you don't have to unwind it. So a center pull means that you're pulling it out of the center of the ball like that, or skein or whatever. Okay, so we have our hook, we have our yarn. What else would we need? We would also need some kind of a darning needle or yarn needle. This one is slightly curved. This one is a Susan Bates. I have used this one a lot. You can see I've kind of rubbed off the silver. I need to replace it. But this one is like curved. I find it easier to use this one to sew in my ends because it kind of allows you to get into those little stitches a little bit better. But this came in like a set of, I want to say, 4 different metal darning needles. 2 of them were curved and 2 of them were straight. Okay, so this is what I'm using to tie in or weave in my ends when I'm done with it. And then you just need a pair of scissors. I happen to have these handy. A lot of times I'll use embroidery scissors because they're little and they're handy and I can put them in my little bag. But any scissors will do as long as it cuts the yarn. Okay, so we've got our hook, our yarn, a darning needle or yarn needle, and a pair of scissors. Okay, so let's get started on actually crocheting something. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to make a slip knot to put onto our hook to start our chain. Okay, so slip knots are very easy to do. We're just going to wrap it around our finger like that to the back, put it under here. Okay, so I have that, and now I'm going to pull, and I have this loop here. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, tighten it up a little bit, so I can put it on my hook, and then I can tighten it up a little bit more. I don't want it to be really, really close to the hook because I want to be able to move within that loop. I also don't want it really big. I don't want like a huge loop like this, because that's going to be way, way too much space to move around. That's not going to do any good. So you want it to be tightened, but not super tight, because you have to be able to work in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to now chain 21 chains, okay? So to do that, we're going to hold this knot that we just made, and we're going to bring our yarn through that hoop, and now we've just made our first actual chain, okay? We're going to do that 20 more times. Now, we don't count this. This is nothing right now. We only count the finished one. So I have 1, 2, 3. As I move away and my grip is down here, what we want to do is we want to then grab it closer so that we are keeping an even tension on our yarn. So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. All right, so we're going to go back and we're going to count these just to make sure that we really have 21 chains. A lot of crocheting is counting. You're always going to be wanting to double check how many you made. Okay, so when we're counting this, what we're going to do is we're going to count this little loop on the top. So you made like a bunch of V's. This looks like a bunch of V's going down your chain, right? All right, so we're going to count the top loop. So when we're looking at this, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21 is that first one that we made with our beginning slip knot. There's our knot right there, okay? That is included in your count. What is not included is this guy. This guy is nothing, okay? He hasn't created anything yet, just a complete one, and then our working yarn, okay? So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually start our single crochets, okay? So we have our 21 stitches. We are going to take our hook and we're going to put it inside that the second one from your hook. So here's the first one. We're going to skip that guy and we're going to go into this one, okay? This first one would be considered your turning chain, okay? Because we're turning and we're going back the other direction, okay? So we're going to take our hook and we're going to put it through that top loop of the second one from your hook, okay? We're going to grab the yarn and pull it through like that. So now I have 2 loops of thread on my hook. I'm going to grab the yarn one more time. We're going to wrap it around. We're going to pull it through both of those. Okay? We just made our first single crochet. That's how easy it is. We're going to go into the next one and do the exact same thing. So we're going to put our hook through. We're going to grab the yarn and pull it through. We've got our 2 hoops or loops here. We're going to grab the yarn again and pull it through both of them. We've just made our second single crochet. We're going to do that all the way down our 20 stitches. Okay, so we're going to go through, pull it up, pull it through, grab it again, and pull it through 2. Through, pull it through. We have our 2, grab it, and pull it through 2. Okay? Through, over, through, and 2. While you're beginning to learn, don't worry about trying to count it as you go. Just try to make the stitch. When you get to the end of your row, that's when you can go back and count. If you try to count the same time that you are trying to make your stitch, you're going to forget what you're doing. Okay? And we're almost to the end of our row here. I've only got a couple stitches left. All right, so now I'm back to my slip knot. I have 1 stitch left, and this counts just like all the other ones. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put it through the top one, pull my yarn through. I have the 2 loops, and then I'm going to pull my yarn through. Okay, so this is what your chain, or I'm sorry, your first row is going to look like. Okay, so this next part is what trips a lot of people up when they're first learning, is the turning part. Okay, so what we're going to do to turn and go the other direction is we're just going to make a chain, just like we did at the beginning. I have 1 chain stitch right here, okay? That does not count as anything except for a turning chain, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to just turn our work the other direction. So here we go. Our tail is now over here, and our yarn is coming from this side. And then we're going to work back the same way that we did before. So we had our turning chain here. We're going to go into this first stitch, and you can see it has, you've made like a series of V's going down, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to put our hook through that V, pull it, the yarn under. Now I've got my 2 loops again, okay? And we're going to pull through those 2 loops. Then we have just made another single crochet. We're going to do that all the way down. So if you're looking at this, and if I separate my yarn a little bit, you can kind of see that there creates a little hole right there. That's where we're going to put our hook, okay? So we're going to go in, pull it through, and pull it through. Pull some more yarn here. Okay. We're going to go in, pull it through, and pull it through. We're going to do that all the way down. We should end with 20 stitches. This stitch you use a lot to make hat brims, gloves, stuff like that, mittens, to make the brim or to make cuffs, to even out the end of a piece of anything. A lot of people use it as a trim so that it makes a nice clean ending to their project. Just kind of cleans it up. Okay, in, through, pull it through. In, through, and pull it through. In, through. We're almost to the end of the second row. And then this last one can be a little tricky. You want to make sure that you get both of those and you get it through and you pull it through. Okay, so now we're done with row number 2. This is what it would look like at this point. We're going to turn again, and we're going to just keep doing this until we get to the size that we want it to be. Okay, so again, we're going to chain 1 like that. So I have 1 little chain, and we're going to turn our work. Okay, so now the tail is down here. Okay, so we're working towards the tail instead of away from it like we did the last one. Now, we're going to go back into this same chain right here at the beginning. So we're going to go in, pull up our loop, and pull through both. We're going to go in, pull up, and go through both. In, pull up, and go through both. We're going to do that all the way down this row. Okay, this is row number 3. Oh, my yarn is splitting. There it goes. All right, and we're just going to keep going down until we get to the end of our 3rd row. And I know it's the 3rd row because your odd numbers should end with your tail. Okay. And I'm almost to the end again. And again, we want to make sure we get both of those loops and we pull it through and then pull it through again. Okay? So this is what it looks like at row 3. Okay? We're going to keep on going. So we're going to turn by making our chain and turning. So now we're on row 4 and we're going to keep going. So we're going to put our hook in, pull it through, and pull it through. Hook in, pull it through, and pull it through. Hook in, pull through, pull through. Hook in, pull through, and pull through. Hook in, pull through, and pull through. Pull through, and pull through. Okay, we're going to do that all the way down to the end of our row. All right, so we're at the end of our row, and there is 4 rows of single crochet. So you would continue doing this as long as you wanted to go to make your washcloth or whatever you were making, okay? I'm going to end it here. All you have to do is rewind and repeat if you want to go further than what I'm going here. I just want to show you now what you're going to do to end your item, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take our yarn. So I did not do a chain, okay, because I didn't turn it, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to cut off a little tail here at the end. So we're going to cut off all right, so now I have a little tail of yarn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that tail and I'm going to pull it through like I'm making a chain, but I'm going to keep pulling. So now I have a little knot, okay? Now, when I say that I'm going to weave in my ends, this is what I mean. We're going to take our yarn needle, our darning needle, and we're going to put our yarn in the darning needle, okay? One thing that's good about this is that the eye of the needle is huge, so you can actually get the yarn in there. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take this yarn and we're going to actually weave it in to our project. What this does is it secures the end so that if you do wash it or use this as a washcloth, your item's not going to come unraveled as easily, okay? So right here is our little knot that we made. We're going to skip over this and we're going to go into here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to weave back and forth and pull that yarn into your project like that, okay? If you're using something that's multiple colors, you'd want to make sure that whatever color you're weaving in is going to match, because you would see this yarn going in and out depending on if you're using like a variegated yarn or something like that. So you just want to kind of weave it in a little bit. The more you do, the more stable. When you're doing this, like here's the end of my yarn. I'm going to skip over that, and basically I'm like locking it in place. I'm going to skip over where it came out of, and I'm going to go right back into my project and secure it into place. Once I'm satisfied with that, then all I have to do is just snip that yarn off. And you want to get like as close to your project without cutting it as possible when you take that yarn off. And now, there you go. Your end is weaved in, and you can't really see anything. Okay? But that secures that little knot that we just made. And of course, I would have to then go do the other side. Okay? So that is how to single crochet. If I were to continue, I'd probably do I don't know, probably 25 rows maybe to make a washcloth. And you can always make it bigger. Just remember to go one chain bigger than what you want your actual size to be. Because that one chain, that last chain is going to be your turning chain, to get you into your stitches. What the turning chain does is it gives you height to get to that next stitch. Okay, just remember that. So whenever you have a turning chain, whether it's a turning chain of 1, 2, 3, whatever the case is, it's giving you the height to get to that next round so that you're not building it on top of it and it doesn't look right. Okay, so there you go. That is how to single crochet. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Anything is appreciated. If you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. But above all, thanks for watching and have a great day. Thanks. Bye.